This counter shows what happens when a government spends $2,300 every single second. That rate was sustained for 108 days during Operation Epic Fury. By the campaign's end, the bill hit $113 billion. But while that fortune rained down on the other side of the planet, more than half of all Americans back home were living paycheck to paycheck. For millions of households, a single broken alternator or surprise hospital visit is the only thing standing between them and losing their homes entirely. We are looking at the most powerful nation on Earth suddenly finding unlimited money to bomb a country 7,000 miles away, while telling its own citizens there simply is no cash left to go around. The government originally floated a price tag of around $29 billion for the operation. Defense analysts watched the actual cost blow past $113 billion, with long-term veteran care threatening to push the final bill beyond $200 billion. Roughly $26 billion went exclusively to the physical missiles and bombs, money instantly converted into smoke and rubble in a matter of weeks. This chart compares that massive expenditure against the enemy's financial reality. Iran's annual defense budget was $7.9 billion. The United States spent more attacking Iran in 8 days than Iran spends on its military in an entire year. And that war funding was placed on top of America's baseline 2026 defense budget, which hit a record $838 billion, more than the next 9 countries combined. This extreme financial mismatch clearly reveals a government apparatus engineered to overfund conflict, regardless of the actual threat level. As the bombs fell abroad, lawmakers inside America's borders drafted the 2026 budget, proposing a 13% raise for the military. To offset those costs, the proposed budget targeted domestic programs for severe cuts. Housing assistance, federal grants for homelessness, and programs helping struggling families pay their winter heating bills were all put on the chopping block. They even targeted the nutrition program that feeds low-income mothers and infants, aiming to slash its funding by $300 million. The military burned $300 million before lunchtime on day one. That morning cost the same as a full year of feeding vulnerable children. Additionally, 1 day of war spending could have funded the Federal Homelessness Agency for 250 years. Every multi-million-dollar missile launched overseas represented a deliberate political decision to leave a specific school unfunded or a struggling family unhoused. The money existed, but was pointed elsewhere. The 100-day campaign in Iran represents the latest chapter in a spending pattern that has dominated the last quarter century. Since 2001, the United States has spent over $8 trillion funding foreign conflicts, beginning in Iraq and Afghanistan before spreading to Syria, Yemen, and Iran. Year after year, these massive operations continually empty the treasury. They guarantee that the economic desperation back home is left to grow unchecked, while trillions are poured into unwon wars. And the legal mechanisms powering this spending have grown increasingly detached from public debate. Congress didn't even formally authorize the Iran strikes before the bombing campaign began. When it comes to military intervention, the money flows instantly. The questions regarding oversight, strategy, and cost are left for later, if asked at all. The mobilization of $113 billion in just 3 months exposes the reality of domestic austerity. The lack of funding for housing, healthcare, and hungry families is a calculated priority, laid bare in cold dollars and cents.